Here we are once again talking about the many mini-games of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That is right, this is a follow-up to a video that I made titled, Is There Too Many Mini-Games in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? And to nutshell that video, if you don't want to check it out, it is up in the top corner if you do. I was pretty happy with the amount of mini-games. You don't have to play them all. Some of them are mandatory, some of them are not, but overall I enjoyed it and I spoke about some of those mini-games, but not all of them. So today's video, we are now doing the tier list of what is the best minigame in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So with that all being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, got you covered with timestamps, so if you want to skip to a certain minigame that I talk about, feel free. You can also skip to the end of the video to see what the tier list is in its final form, but do not think about commenting if you don't know the context of how we got there. I do appreciate your time, but they are down there nonetheless. All I ask is for you to support the channel and hit the thumbs up button. And without further ado, we'll go straight over. And yes, you probably can't read the text. I can also not read the text in this tier list. I will post a link down below if you want to do the tier list yourself, but we're going to dive straight in and get through all of these. So we are starting off with piano playing. Piano playing. I was one of those people that were pretty hyped about piano playing being in the game and seeing it in its infancy. And when I say infancy, like seeing it in trailers, it looked pretty cool to be able to do. But when it came down to it, it can be quite finicky. And my best approach was just to mute the sound to get those A ranks for that trophy. If you haven't checked it out already, I have done a video on the Platinum Trophy for Rebirth. But yeah, I would say that this is probably as basic as it is. Actually, to be fair, it is quite finicky. There are probably ways you could improve it. So we're going to put piano playing in C tier. Moving on to the Pirates Rampage. Now, I think that's what it says. The text, again, very, very small. But this is one of the new mini games that was introduced in Rebirth at Costa del Sol. You had to do it to get the outfit tokens, if I remember correctly, for Tifa and Aerith. And you didn't really have to get an amazing score to get that, but it was there nonetheless. And to be fair, I quite like this. I liked the way that they implemented the haptics and the fact that there was strategy to it. I think there was certain things, I think it might have been like the Ultros or the Octopuses or something like that, that if you wait for a minute, they turn to gold and you get extra points. And it also bases your score on accuracy as well. I liked the challenge. So I'm going to put Pirates Rampage in A. I think it's quite a good mini game. Moving on to Desert Rush. This is the evolution of the box game that we got in Remake. I liked the Remake box game, it was alright, but Desert Rush introduced a few mechanics, had an awesome song playing in the background as well, and essentially you needed to find the best course to go to get the charges to be able to break the boxes with the charges, to then go to get more boxes, to get more time, etc, etc, etc. I didn't think I had too much frustration with this. I thought it was quite easy, but at the same time, did I want more? No, it's quite enjoyable. So I think for that reason, this is going to just go in the B tier because it's quite basic in my eyes. There could have been more to it. I know that a lot of people did not like it, but I think it's a step up from the box minigame from Remake, and they did it all right here in Rebirth. So let's go to Hustle de Chocobo. This is the first kind of mini game, I guess, the first little race we get when we're introduced to Chocobos at the Chocobo farm in the grasslands. I think the best thing about this is the kind of rock Chocobo theme that we got here. It was probably the highlight. Apart from that, it's just going through some checkpoints. It's not like the best of mini games. It's not something you will want to go back and do again and again and again. So I think for that reason, it's going to go down in C. But it has kick-ass music. It really does. Here we go. Queen's Blood. I think we all know where this is going because Queen's Blood card game. Final Fantasy. Triple Triad? Yes! Tetramaster? Ugh. Queen's Blood. It's up on that upper echelon of card games that are in games, so you can harken back to like The Witcher 3 and Gwent. I think I was playing Bravely Default 2 a couple of months ago, and that has a card game that feels like it was the baby to Queen's Blood. But card games in my games I love. I like a little bit of collecting. I like just strategy and kicking ass, getting all the cards and everything else in between. And Queen's Blood, my only gripe with Queen's Blood is that I wanted more. I want more Queen's Blood. I want to be able to talk to every single NPC. Is that meteor up in the sky? Well, I want to play some damn Queen's Blood. So I'm hoping that there's not just the typical defeat the rank 1, defeat the rank 2, defeat the rank 3 kind of thing that they've had with Remake when it came to Fort Condor as well. I want us to be able to just play anyone, collect cards, find hidden cards, and not let everything be so guided. I want to be able to, maybe a card could be a rare drop from a monster or something like that. But I'm going on just a little bit. I'm talking about what I want from Queen's Blood going into part 3. But Queen's Blood is going straight in S, so I think we all know that, and I'm hoping that we all agree. I am interested to hear your opinions in the comment section below, so let me know. We are moving on to 3D Brawler, and again, when this was shown in the trailer, I think it was one of those moments like, whoa, what are they adding in Rebirth? This is incredible. But when it came down to 3D Brawler, well, it was all right, but I think when you get towards the end, I think me in particular, I started pause champing a lot to get the job done. As a mini game, it's all right. It's not bad and it's not great, so I'm going to throw that into B tier. Next is Cactuar Crush, and I think this is the Aerith one. Man, I bet a lot of people have got something to say here with this one because of the frustrations of them changing from magical to physical. I believe this is the only chance in the whole game that we get to do physical attacks with Aerith, so that's kind of like throws a cog in the works as well. And of course, if you're going after the Platinum Trophy, it's quite the requirement. But I must say, as frustrating as it might be, when you get it and it's satisfying. But the road is very frustrating, so for that reason it's going to go in C, because I know if I pull it any higher, or even I think probably because I'm putting it higher than D, I'm sure some of you will call it out, but I was satisfied once I got to grips. But yes, it is a very frustrating minigame nonetheless. Next is Gears and Gambits, and I can appreciate the throwback to the Gambit system here, but I just went with the computer recommended settings. I didn't really dive in too much, and it didn't really interest me, I guess. There just wasn't that much customization when you're just relying on the CPU, and the game itself felt like a very RNG based game. So I think this is something else. It's not my favorite at all. I think there's probably ways that they can improve it, but it's not my favorite, and for that reason, Gears and Gambits is going in D. It's going in D. Okay, next is Galactic Saviors, the replacement to the roller coaster game that we got in the original Final Fantasy VII. And you know, this was just fun. It wasn't like amazing, it was just fun to play. Not much else to say about it. I like the variation in the stages. There's not much to it. I don't think there's much skill involved. So I am torn between A and B here, but I think this is going to be a basic B. Next is G-Bike, and you know, I'm a little bit disappointed with G-Bike, if I'm honest. Yes, it's always nice slashing soldiers left, right, and center with the Buster Sword while riding on a motorcycle, but I don't know, there was just something that wasn't hitting for me when it came to G-Bike. I don't know if it's the fact that they had the side ramps that we could go up, or the fact that there wasn't much challenge to it, but G-Bike is going to go in D for me. And I would like to know opinions if maybe why that could be higher, or if you're on the same boat as I am when it comes to G-Bike. Next is the, what does that bloody say? The Buggy shooting, man, the most misplaced minigame in all of Rebirth. Now, this was cool. It was a cool minigame. A bit clunky, a bit finicky, not much else to say about it, to be fair. And I think it's probably, again, I think it's better than the ones I got in D, but I don't think it's great at all. Next is Glidity Chocobo. I know that there was a patch that was introduced to make this easier, the space at the edge of the gates, but I played this before that patch and got that all done, and I experienced the frustration that probably everyone did, and that's the last track where you kind of need to really use the momentum of going down and up at the right time. It's just a very frustrating minigame, I think, and that can go straight in the D tier. I don't think I need to say much. Got it done. Would I ever do it again? Not really, unless they improved the controls ever so slightly. I think it's the controls that kind of threw it off. Next is what does that say? The jumping, riveting, it's the frog mini game by the looks of it. I like this. A bit of Frog Guys, I guess we could all dub it as. It was quite fun. I like the music. I'm a sucker for the music. I'd probably use it in the intro of this video. But yeah, it was very fun. I'm putting it in an A. I enjoyed the frogs. Next is the Shinra box throw-in. Now, I did not mind this to a certain extent. There was one part in particular. You know where I'm going with this. The rotating bowls. And the positioning on that was really frustrating. And man, I finally got it. And I'm betting a lot of people were going to relate to this. I got it and I actively cheered out loud. I was like, yes, finally, god damn it. And then the voice of that damn computer was like, insufficient amount. And I was like, what, I gotta do it again? And you'd think, because I've already done it once, I know the exact positioning and I know where to throw it. But no. That was not the case. That was not the case at all. And for that reason, and then you've got the elevator one and you have to throw the boxes as they go past as well. And I was like, I'm done with box throwing. That rotating thing threw me off. If that wasn't in the game, I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more. But box throwing is going in D. Next is the Loveless performance, and you know what? I love this version of Loveless, the way it was depicted, and the fact that we can interact. At its base, it is literally just a QTE mini game, but you know, with the story and the music accompanying it, I think this was pretty damn great, and it's going in A for that reason. Next is looks like it's the minecart minigame, and while I played this is the only time I experienced a frame drop. And apart from that, you've got the shooting of the Gatling gun with Barrett, and you've got the throwing of the shuriken with Yuffie. Not much to it except just banter on the different routes you go on. So for that reason, it's pretty basic. I don't think it's bad, I don't think it's great, so it's going in that B tier. Next is Moogle Mischief. And I enjoyed this. I enjoyed a bit of Moogle Mischief. It was really enjoyable for me. I liked the Moogle music that was playing in the background, and I found the last stage to be quite challenging, and having everything thrown at you and being a little bit of yeah, all these mini games come with frustration, but you know what? It's going in B. Nice and basic. I enjoyed it. Next is the mushroom picking. Man, did I forget about this one. I did not look at the flipping synopsis of this when it was like, this is how you need to do it. I was just like, okay, I got to do each one in a circle. I was very wrong, and I soon realized, and I think this is the only minigame that I don't have like the green, like the side quest doesn't have the green tick to it, like the perfect, when you've done everything to the top tier that you can do. I don't know why they brought this in. Why did they bring this in? I don't know. But it wasn't really bad, but it wasn't great. So it's going in the C tier. Next is the Shinra Junon Parade, and again, this is much like Loveless, but even better. I was a fan of the minigame of the Honeybee Inn. I just liked it. I know that sometimes people can find it quite jaunting with all the button prompts being all over the place, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it that much that this is going in the S tier for me, because again, nostalgia kicks in because of the music and just the choreography of it as well, and the fact that there's so many different options that you can pick from. That's why it's going in S. Next is, I had to look in really close then because I was very confused of what I was looking at, and this is the photo quest in Costa del Sol, where you have to find the little cactuars to progress with something. I can't remember particularly, but I remember there's about 3 or 4 and not very memorable. So for that reason, it's not bad, but it's not, I'm really trying to go in C. All right, guys, it's going in C. Next is the Dolphin minigame. And I had to reassess how I was tackling this, because I was holding R2 thinking that I needed to hold R2 to get the dolphin to go faster. But no, R2 gets the dolphin to halt, and you just leave it to go without any kind of button prompt. And for the longest time, and even when I went back to it the second time, I still made that same mistake. But apart from that, very enjoyable, very chill music, not really that much a bad thing to say. I think nostalgia's probably putting it in A for me, but it's going in A. It's going in A, all right? Next is the Constellation Star Photograph minigame at Cosmo Canyon. The only thing I remember in particular with this is that the constellations were classic monsters of Final Fantasy, I think. And we could sneak in some pictures with Aerith to improve the relationship as well. Apart from that, not much to say. I think that's just going to go in B, to be fair. No, you know what? It was frustrating because you had to be very exact with to get the best marks, so it's going in C for that reason. Next is the Chocobo Wrangling. Man, you know what? The first one, not so bad. The second one, when you're hiding behind things, not that bad, a little bit worse. You get to Nibelheim, and you've got them magical flowers that grow and don't grow, and you have to guide them at the right time. Yeah, that was pretty frustrating. It's going in C. There's a lot of C's here. Next is the chicken mini game. Okay, I like this, right? And I'll explain to you why. At first, I was like, this is quite frustrating because of all the mechanics they introduce. And I believe it was the third one where it's like, we're going to send you about 500 miles away from the destination and make you think that you've got to guide a chicken all the way back to the village. But again, they knew that we were going to think that, like, oh my god, what, we got to do this? And then we had the boss fight, and then we had the very funny ending to this, and which got like various animal organizations on Twitter talking. I think I'm going to put this in B just because of the entertainment value. The minigame itself, it's not really that bad. It's not frustrating. It's a little bit long, but I can see what they did there. It worked, it clicked. So it looks like we have another pirate ship minigame because I guess that they've decided to put both difficulties here. And I'm just going to throw this straight in A because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this stuff. So let's go next to the other one. Next is the Cactuar Crush with Yuffie. And you know what? I prefer the Yuffie one over the Aerith one. The Yuffie one's very satisfying, switching between like the ninjutsu and the physical attacks, and once you go in your flow, much like the Aerith one, it can be quite satisfying. So I think this is not going to go in A. I don't think it's that high, but it's definitely better than the Aerith one, so it's going there. Next is Chocobo Racing, and Chocobo Racing, there was so many courses to go through, there was so many kind of like cups to get, there were so many abilities. You had the armor that you collected along the game for the Chocobo that you could mix and match to get custom your Chocobo to the way you wanted it to race. I think this is something that they can expand on even more with breeding in part 3. So I'm putting Chocobo Racing in S tier because I had a lot of fun, a lot of like intense situations, a little bit of frustration of course because of going around corners, falling off the edge of the map, and going against the damn Shinra manager as well. What an intense match that was, but kick-ass music. The music in Chocobo Racing was alright. Even that kind of like lo-fi vocal track was not bad. So Chocobo Racing S tier. Next is Fort Condor. Again, tapped into the nostalgia with the classic models here. Thinking that we'll get a follow-up with what we got in Intergrade, because I really enjoyed what we got in Intergrade. The only caveat with this one is that there's no collecting in this, and I think that's where its downfall was. It had the gameplay, it had a few new mechanics. I did like the leader mechanic, because that definitely got me a few victories, especially in hard mode, but it definitely was a down step to what it was in Intergrade, but I did enjoy it. If it had some kind of collectible feel to it, a bit more customization, it would be in S along with Chocobo Racing, The Parade, and Queen's Blood. Next is the flower picking. This was a mini game. I think we just had to pick up flowers and colors. So yeah, I'm just going to throw that in C. I don't know why that is on there. Next is it's the sit-up mini game. Man, a lot of you people are probably like getting PTSD with this right now, and I've always been quite lucky when it comes to these mini games, especially with the pull-ups with Remake and this one. It only took me no more than probably 3 or 4 tries to get it done. I don't know if I just have some rhythm, but trying to understand the holding of the trigger softly and the rapid bashing, and because of the haptics, I got some achy wrists. So it's definitely one of the more intense mini games, but I'm sure we're going to get an ultimate one in part 3, so I don't think this is going to go away. They're really going to probably get us to break our wrists, end up in hospital. So this is just going to go in, you know what, it's going to go in B for me, personally. I know a lot of you hate it, but for me, going in B. So next, you know what, I'm going to put these together. I don't want to make the mistake of splitting a lot of things up here. We have the football minigame with red. And you know what, these are going both in A. You want to know why they're going in A? Well, I'm going to tell you why. I enjoyed this. I like the challenge. I didn't get frustrated. This is actually one of the few minigames I went back to and played just because I like the mechanics. I would love to have like a full-on kind of football game within Final Fantasy VII. There's just something about playing a nice basic version of football, or soccer should I say, for you guys over the pond. But I enjoyed it, and I don't really have that much of a bad thing to say. If you do, let me know. So the next one here is that minigame where you have to scan for the big Gigas worm, and I did not get this for the longest time at all. Nothing. Didn't get any of it. Didn't get it. I didn't understand how it worked, and when I did, I think I was far past the point of caring. That I guess my own faults tainted my experience with this one. So I'm going to throw it in D because I didn't have a good time with this one. I really didn't. And I think that might be on me more than the game. Did the game explain it well? Maybe it did. I can't really remember. And yeah, it wasn't the best of time. And we're finishing off with another frog minigame, and this again is going to go alongside the one we put here in A because I'm a sucker for frogs. I had a lot of fun and it was quite intense getting that high score. So there we have it. There it is, my tier list of all the minigames in there. I think all the minigames that were in Rebirth are here represented. If there's any that I've missed, let me know and I'll probably reply in the comments where I'd put it. Really interested to see what you would put in S tier. Are you agreeing with me? Are you disagreeing with me? And that could be the same for down there in D. But I'm going to switch back to my full screen so I can do my outro. I appreciate you watching. Please get involved in the comment section below. I'm always interested to hear your thoughts when it comes to these tier lists because opinions matter and they create good discussion. If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing if you want more Final Fantasy content, and hit that notification bell so you're notified of that content. Hit the thumbs up button because that supports the video as well. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.